Okay, what's up YouTube? We're back with another training session today. Today it is a speed and plyometric session. So what we're doing now is trying to switch up our training program a little bit. So now we're just focusing on strength days being strength, so full body strength work. Like yesterday we did squats, bench and pull-ups, heavy weighted pull-ups, along with some little bit of light to medium intense plyometrics, nothing crazy. And then today we're going to do an athletic day, which is going to be sprints, max effort sprints, max effort jumps, and some light to medium intense plyometric work. So trying to keep our athletic days athletic and our strength days all about strength. Just kind of split it up because normally I try and fit everything into that one session. So I would do plyometrics, max effort jumps, max effort squatting, and then other leg stuff. But now we're trying to change that up and do a little bit, because I noticed last week when I didn't do my max effort jumps that my squat felt way easier, because obviously doing that max effort jumps fatigues your legs a lot. Going into your squats, you're not going to be able to squat as heavy because your legs are fatigued from jumps. I know some people don't get that issue, but for me, I don't know if it's because I'm a tall athlete or that I'm not exactly the most powerful, explosive kind of athlete. I'm not naturally like that. Maybe it's worse for me because my legs fatigue quicker. But when I split it up and I just did the light to medium intense plyometrics, missed out the max effort jumps, went straight into my squats felt easier, stronger, and I felt like I was actually able to push heavier weight. I hit a PB. So now I'm going to try change up the new program, do full body strength work, so where it's just purely focused on strengths. We still do a little bit of plyos as a warm up anyway, plus it gets a little bit more elasticity work in, but the main thing is going to be the strength. And then on this day we're going to do an athletic day where it's going to have all the athletic stuff, jumps, plyos, and some sprints, max effort sprints too. I think this program's going to work. I think it's going to be good for making you a more twitchy, fast twitch, explosive kind of athlete, which is my absolute goal. We have 4 weeks to absolutely kill it before we go away, so we're going to be pushing this for 4 weeks. We're going to see if we can hit PBs. I haven't proper tested my speed on a track in a long time, so hopefully this will be good and we'll see where my speed's at, if I'm faster or not. Today's more of an acceleration session, so 10 to 20 meter sprints, nothing longer than that. Later on in the week we're going to do a top end speed session where it'll be more 30-40 meter sprints, trying to hit that top end speed work. So yeah, we'll just get right into session. We're going to start off with some light intense plyometrics, extensive, then we're going to go into medium, and then we're going to go into our max effort jumps. So as I've said a million times, these light intense plyos, we're going to do double leg pogo series, 2 legs, jumping each way, different directions, just to get the elasticity working and warm up the ankles before we go into the more high intense work. We already did that kind of warm up. We did a 400 meter run, we then did a dynamic warm up with squats, lunges, single leg RDLs, just the normal stuff. And then we did some faster kind of runs, and then we did some kickouts, and just to get warmed up. Nothing too crazy, to be honest. Only took me 5 to 7 minutes. Then I get right into my plyometric work, which is just a continuation on the warm up anyway. So now we're going to go into our medium intense plyometrics. Today's going to be broad jumps because we're working on acceleration today. We're going to be doing a lot of broad jumps, trying to be explosive from a standing start, which is good for acceleration. So we're going to do rhythm broad jumps, 8 reps, just trying to be nice and fluid, not going max effort, just fluid and rhythmic. I do think it's important to do these kind of medium intense plyometric work like what I just did. Those like rhythm broad jumps, because like what these work on, it's a lot of rhythm, timing, coordination. It's just like working on that in between intensity of low to high intense. And if you're only doing high and low intense, you're kind of missing that middle ground, which is so important, because a lot of the base for athleticism comes through medium intense kind of efforts. When you look at like sport play, a lot of sport play is medium intense kind of efforts. It's not always a max effort or a light. A lot of the time you're doing, like when you're playing football or playing basketball, and you're not always doing a max effort thing or light intense. Probably like 70-80% of the game is played at a medium kind of intensity. So it's important to do that in your training if you want to become more athletic. It helps you, as I said, build that rhythm, build that coordination, build that timing, gets your body used to that kind of movement. Because now we've just done that rhythm broad jumps, we're going to go into the single broad jumps, and we're going to also do some double broad jumps. but just doing that medium intense one just gets my body to know how to react off the floor going forward, and just works on that a little bit of coordination too for the max effort ones. So that's why I think that the medium intense ones are so important. I think a lot of people skip over them because they think that they're just a waste of time. That's what I used to think anyway. I used to think, I'll just do my light ones, go straight into my high intense ones because I feel like I'm wasting time doing the medium intense, or maybe like one set of them. But now I'll try and focus on getting at least 3 good sets of these medium intense ones in before a session. I think it just, as I said, develops that rhythm, coordination, and it's a base for athletic development, honestly. So yeah, that's why I like to do these more. We're going to go into our standing broad jumps now, see if we can hit a PB. My legs are a little bit tired from yesterday after the heavy squats we did to hit a new PB in squats, so we'll see how they feel. Try and be nice and explosive with them. So we're going to do maybe between 3 to 5 of these, then we're going to go on to about 3 double broad jumps also. I think if you're going to be doing max effort jumps like the broad jump or like vertical jumps, you need something to drive that intent. You need something to measure the distance or measure the height, because if you're not doing that, a lot of the time the sessions become, well, they're not very good because you don't know if you're actually going your max intent. It doesn't drive that. It's more of a mental thing too. If you think to yourself, oh, I need to beat myself what I did last time, that is exciting. It's a little bit of competition for yourself, and it drives that intent into the session, and then you're going to put more effort into that rep or in that workout because you have something to beat, and it's a competition. So a competition always is important. So even if it's just a competition with yourself, because like I'll say I train on my own all the time, so I have to make up that competition myself, and I think it's a massive thing to build, to be able to push yourself to your max, is trying to beat yourself. So that's why I always use a tape measure when I'm doing broad jumps, so I can measure how far I'm going, so I can measure, like, try and beat myself from last week or the week before. Just makes it more fun, makes the training more engaging, rather than just jumping and not really knowing if you're getting further, if you're getting more powerful. You're just kind of just doing it for the sake of it, I think. That's why when I'm doing broad jumps, I like to have a tape measure or something to measure how far I jump. If you don't have a tape measure, you can just have a cone or something, jump, land, leave the cone there and try and beat that every time. Just something to drive that intent helps a lot. It's obviously better if you can measure it, so you know week by week how far you're jumping, if you're getting better, but just anything to drive that intent. So yeah, we're going to go on to these, some single ones. We'll do a few warm-ups before we go into the actual sets. Even though I have the tape measure, I still like to have something to look and try and beat, so I always put something out just so my eyes can see where I want to beat. Anyway, that helps drive that intent also. No PPs today in that one. Wasn't my best effort on these. We got close to what my absolute best is for one rep. The other reps were pretty close. Not amazing today, but I don't know if it's because I did my squats yesterday. Maybe they're a bit fatigued, but because max strength is my main goal at the moment, I want to improve that more than this at the moment. This isn't my priority. It will be my priority later on, but I knew that I was quite a weak, not strong enough athlete, so I needed to improve that first. But I just want to keep these pretty decent so they're not getting too bad. So that wasn't shocking, it wasn't my best either, but now we're going to do some double ones, do 3 double ones. I got a question on my Q&A on Instagram, like what one you should do first, either do jumps or sprints first if you're going to do them in the same session. A lot of people would say do sprints first because you normally go fast to slower, and obviously sprints is the most fast thing you can do. But for me, I noticed that when I did my sprints first, my legs were cooked, they didn't feel as good, and my jumps were absolute crap. But when I switched that around and I did my jumps first, sprints second, my sprints felt okay, my sprints still felt fine, didn't feel any worse from them, and my jumps felt good as well because I did them first when it was most fresh. So yeah, I don't think it depends on you yourself, but also what's your main goal. Like, you want to do your main goal as the first thing anyway. So if your main goal is to get faster, then you should probably do sprints first. If your main goal is to jump further or higher, then you should do jumps first. For me, my main goal is max strength, but that's another day. When I'm doing this, I'm still trying to get more powerful. I think jumps are more important to me than sprinting, so I'm going to do them first. And also because I noticed myself by training a lot that doing my jumps first doesn't make my speed worse, but doing my speed first makes my jumps worse. So again, you've got to try it out both ways, see which one works for you the best. It's going to be different for everyone, but normally I would say do your the thing you want to get better at, do it first, and then do the other thing second, because you obviously want to get better. You want to be freshest when you're doing the thing you want to get better at. Okay, we're going to do some double ones here. Also, rest in between the jumps. I normally rest between 30 seconds to a minute, or maybe even longer sometimes, especially on the double ones, because again, they are a max effort thing. You don't want to be doing them one after the other, because then you're not going to be able to go max effort each rep. Your aim is to go max effort each rep, so you need that rest time. 30 seconds sometimes with jumps is enough, but unlike these kind of jumps, double ones, normally rest about a minute to a minute 30, because if you're doing a max effort squat, you wouldn't be resting 30 seconds or 20 seconds between reps or going right into a next rep. You need that rest time to let your muscles regenerate and be able to go as far as you can, because the goal with these isn't conditioning. The goal is to be as powerful and explosive as you can. So that's why you need that rest time in between each jump. At least 30 seconds, probably more ideally, but sometimes people don't have enough time for that. So 30 seconds is enough, but I would say try and rest a minute to a minute and a half between each jump, realistically, to get like max, to be able to be your absolute max. Okay, cool. Not too bad. Double broad jumps weren't the worst. They weren't the best either, but they were pretty decent. So we're going to go into our sprints now. Yeah. Okay, we're going to do 6 of these 10-meter sprints. Then we're going to go on and do 3 or 4 20-meter sprints. First one felt good. Felt okay. We're still in the kind of range we were before when we were doing sprints regularly. So yeah, we just got to keep it going. We normally rest like 1 minute in between every 10 meters sprinted. So we sprint 10 meters, we're going to rest a minute. If we sprint 20 meters, we're going to rest 2 minutes. Again, for the same reason, you want to rest in between your jumps. You need to have that maximum effort for each one, especially because you're trying to get faster. If you don't, I mean, it doesn't have to be a minute. It can be like 45 seconds even. But I like to rest a minute just to give my legs even more of a rest time, especially when I'm doing jumps in the same session. My legs are fatigued a little bit from jumps, so it's obviously good to give them a little bit longer rest in between each rep. I think that's one of the most common mistakes people make when they're trying to do sprint sessions or speed sessions, trying to work on their speed. It turns into a conditioning session because they don't actually rest enough in between their sprints. So a lot of people will do like 20 or 30 meter sprints, then rest like 30 seconds, or walk back and then redo it again. It's not enough rest time to work on actual speed. It's good for conditioning, like working on a bit of anaerobic conditioning, but if your goal is purely speed, you need that rest time in between each sprint so your legs can regenerate and you can actually sprint as fast as you can again. So normally it's between 45 to 60 seconds per 10 meter sprinted is my aim. Anything less than that, I don't think your legs are regenerated enough, and then the next sprint isn't a max effort, then the next sprint after that isn't a max effort either, because you're just fatigued rather than actually working on speed. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes athletes make, or people make, when they're trying to get faster. Okay, cool, we're done with the 10 meter sprints. We hit every single one was within a millisecond of each other, so pretty happy with that, to be honest. They're all really close, so we can't really complain too much about that. Decent times as well compared to what it was before. It's kind of similar area, maybe a little bit slower, tiny little bit slower, because I haven't proper tested this in a long time. I'm pretty happy with that. I haven't been focusing on getting faster, so pretty happy with that. Now we're going to go on to some 20 meter sprints, and then that'll be us for the day. Okay, we're on to our 20 meter sprints now. We're going to do 3 or 4 of these. Normally in a sprint session, when it is specifically like an athletic day like today, I like to get between 8 to 15 jumps in, and then for sprints I like to get hit about 100 to 150 meter sprints, especially because we're going to do 2 of these sessions this week. That would be an overall volume of like 200 to 300 meters max effort sprinted over 2 days, and then like 30 to 40 between 25 to 35 max effort jumps, which is probably enough during the week to get, that's probably the most you can do max effort wise. Any more than that, and I think you're getting a bit deteriorated, unless you're like a super athlete and you can handle all that stress. A lot of people can't handle that much max effort stress, especially when I'm also doing lifting, max effort lifting too. So it's 4 days a week of quite high intense workouts, 2 sprint sessions, 2 full body weight strength kind of sessions. So yeah, but it's good, it's enjoyable, and I think you can get a lot out of this. You can definitely become a more powerful athlete. And then, yeah, as I said, that's the kind of volume I'm doing in today's kind of session. So we've already done 60 meters with the sprints, because we did 6 10-meter sprints. So if we do 4 of these 20 meters, that'll be up to another 140-meter sprint. So that's probably enough for the day. We'll see how they feel. If like the second or third one isn't very fast or isn't feeling good, we'll probably stop it, because during a sprint session, it's not about not about the quantity, it's more about the quality. So yeah, we'll see how they feel, how the timings are going and all that too. Okay, cool. We've managed to do 3 20-meter sprints. Legs are feeling pretty cooked, so we're going to stop it there. The last 2 were decent, but they weren't as good as I was hoping. The first one was really good. The second 2 weren't as good, so there's no point doing a 4th rep. I know it won't be that good. As I said, legs are pretty cooked, especially after, we did do some decent max effort jumps with broads, double broads. Those 10-meter sprints were very consistent and pretty good, so even though they're only 10 meters, it's still fatiguing on the legs. They're still max effort for like a second and a bit, so still difficult. Yeah, and also after we did squats yesterday, it's good to just end the session. You know yourself when to end the session. The amount of times my sprints have been getting worse and worse, but I've just kept going, because I'm like, nah, I need to keep going, but I need to get more volume in. But a lot of time with this kind of stuff, the power work, the strength work, especially when you're trying to be explosive, it's not really about the quantity, as I said. It's more about the quality. So now the quality's not as good, I'm going to stop the session and we're going to rest up, and we're going to get back into it again on Thursday. But yeah, good session overall. It's good to see where I'm at with my sprints. 10-meter ones are decent, 20 meters weren't as good, but it's probably just because I'm fatigued. But yeah, enjoying this new program and everything, trying to get nice and explosive and more powerful. But yes, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section. But yeah, and I'll see you next time.